Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare 2020 LA. Shakespeare 2020 LA is the Los Angeles division of Shakespeare Project 2020, a worldwide challenge created by Ian Desher to read the entire Shakespeare canon in 2020. Shakespeare 2020 is comprised of Los Angeles local professional actors. We meet as a group to read and workshop the plays in addition to performing staged readings at Los Angeles public libraries, which we look forward to resuming when we're able to gather in person again. Our reading today is Cymbeline, and our players are Jason Rennie, Martin Hillier, Christopher Carbo, Taylor Marr, Sasha Venn, Megan Wells, Ron Dorn, Cameron Prince, Chris Klein, Ariel McIntyre, and Leilani Toon. I'm Mary Carrick. So from the Riverside Shakespeare, we have Cymbeline is set in the same pre-Christian, semi-legendary period as King Lear. The gods are Roman gods, and the chief of them, Jupiter, appears in the play as a spectacular vision scene to assure the hero of his eventual happiness. The ways of the gods are mysterious, and they are beneficent in the end. And the penitent hero and patient heroine will find themselves reunited in happiness after many hazardous adventures. The romantic plot could appropriately be set in the earliest period of British history as Shakespeare read it in Holinshed's Chronicles. The legendary Brutus, after whom Britain was supposedly named, had a wife named Imogen and a grandfather named Posthumus. In his third book, Holinshed tells of Cymbeline, who ruled around the time of Christ. Holinshed, Terence, and his favorite, Ovid, all authors that Shakespeare knew well and from which he drew many of his plays' narratives. Cymbeline was first published in the folio of 1623 as the last play in that volume. It was performed at the Blackfriars as a private theater in 1608 and considered a romance play. Shakespeare's earlier plays, like Titus Andronicus, are revenge themes. In his later works, revenge has evolved to forgiveness themed. As Tina Packer mentioned in her recent podcast, love and law replaced revenge. Shakespeare says that love is a test. Much like Romeo and Juliet, the lovers must be equal in order to weather the test. In Shakespeare's later plays like Cymbeline, the young women lead the way, supported by sage civil servants, Belarius to Imogen, and the royal and true blue sage Gonzalo we find later in Tempest. In disguise, Imogen adopts the male name Fidelio and is in the thick of love's test, waking up in a cave with a headless man who she believes is her husband, wonders if she is in a dream, what is truth, what is reality, and how do we know what is true? This past Friday, Kristen Linklater, co-founder of Shakespeare and Company, passed away. As Tina Packer shares her collaboration with Kristen, she says, "Kristen was my friend, a friend who changed how I perceived the world and theater. She deepened my understanding, not only about how our voices reveal who we are, but why it is essential that our voices are heard in the public space." When Kristen arrived in America to teach at NYU, the university was in turmoil, protesting the Vietnam War. Kristen's ability to understand the politics of voice made her one of the outstanding teachers of the age. She also taught generations of actors as well as training teachers. When I arrived, Tina, in the US 10 years later, the thoughts that I had about the radical message of Shakespeare's plays were supported by Kristen's understanding of freeing the natural voice. Our friendship was immediate, and we collaborated, argued, inspired each other for the next 50 years. The founding of Shakespeare and Company came out of that artistic collaboration. And the foundation of Shakespeare and Company is always these three questions. What does it mean to be alive? How must we act? And what must I do? Our thirst for knowledge is our desire to be connected, to be in relationship. Posthumus offers the final note on forgiveness in Cymbeline when he says, "Kneel not to me. The power that I have on you is to spare you, the malice toward you to forgive you, live, and deal with others better." So sit back, relax, ponder, and as Kristen Linklater has taught us, breathe in with us this path of forgiveness. William Shakespeare's Cymbeline.
Act 1, Scene 1, Cymbeline's Court, Britain. Enter two gentlemen.
You do not meet a man but frowns. Our bloods no more obey the heavens than our courtiers still seem as does the king's.
But what's the matter?
His daughter, and the heir of his kingdom, whom he purposed to his wife's sole son, a widow that he late married, hath referred herself unto a poor but worthy gentleman. She's wedded, her husband banished, she imprisoned. All is outward sorrow, though I think the king be touched at very heart.
None but the king.
He that hath lost her too. So is the queen that most desired the match, but not a courtier, although they wear their faces to the bent of the king's looks, hath a heart that is not glad at the thing they scowled at.
And why so?
He that hath missed the princess is a thing too bad to report, and he that hath her, that married her, alack, good man, and therefore banished, is a creature such as, to seek through the regions of the earth for one his like, there would be something failing in him that should compare. I do not think so fair and outward and such stuff within endows a man but he.
You speak him far.
I do extend him, sir, within himself, crush him together rather than unfold his measure duly.
What's his name and birth?
I cannot delve him to the roots. His father was called Sicilius, who did join his honor against the Romans with Cymbeline, but had his titles by Tenatius, whom he served with glory and admired success. So gained the suredition Leonatus, and had, besides this gentleman in question, two other sons, who in the wars of the time died with their swords in hand, for which their father, being old and fond of issue, took such sorrow that he quit being, and his gentle lady, big of this gentleman our theme, deceased as he was born. The king, he takes the babe to his protection, calls him Posthumus Leonatus, breeds him and makes him of his bedchamber, puts him to all the learnings that his time could make him the receiver of, which he took, as we do air, fast as 'twas ministered, and in springs became a harvest. Lived in court, which is rare to do, most praised, most loved, a sample to the youngest, to the more mature, a glass that feted them, and to the graver a child that guided daughters. To his mistress, for whom he is banished, her own prince proclaims how she esteemed him, and his virtue by her election may be truly read what kind of man he is.
I honor him, even out of your report. But pray you tell me, is she sole child to the king?
His only child. He had two sons, if this be worth your hearing, mark it. The eldest of them at 3 years old, in the swine clothes the other, from their nursery were stolen, and to this hour no guess in knowledge which way they went.
How long is this ago?
Some 20 years.
That a king's children should be so conveyed, so slackly guarded, and the search so slow that could not be traced them.
Howsoever 'tis strange, or that the negligence may well be laughed at, yet it is true, sir.
I do well believe you.
Ah, Come, we must forbear. Here comes the gentleman, the queen, and princess.
No, be assured you shall not find me, daughter, after the slander of most stepmothers, evil-eyed unto you. You're my prisoner, but your jailer shall deliver you the keys that lock up your restraint. For you, Posthumus, as soon as I can win the offended king, I will be known your advocate. Marry, yet the fire of rage is in him, and 'twere good you leaned unto his sentence. With what patience your wisdom inform you.
Please, your highness, I will from hence today.
You know the peril. I'll fetch a turn about the garden, pitying the pangs of barred affections, though the king hath charged you should not speak together.
Oh, dissembling courtesy, how fine this tyrant can tickle where she wounds. My dearest husband, I something fear my father's wrath, but nothing, always reserved my holy duty, what his rage can do on me. You must be gone, and I shall here abide the hourly shot of angry eyes, not comforted to live, but that there is this jewel in the world that I may see again.
My queen, my mistress, oh lady, weep no more, lest I give cause to be suspected of more tenderness than doth become a man. I will remain the loyalest husband that did e'er plight troth. My residence in Rome at one Philarios, who to my father was a friend, to me known but by letter, thither right, my queen, and with mine eyes I'll drink the words you send, though ink be made of gall.
Be brief, I pray you. If the king come, I shall incur I know not how much of his displeasure. Yet I'll move him to walk this way. I never do him wrong, but he does buy my injuries to friends, pays dear for my offenses.
Should we be taking leave as long a term as yet we have to live, the loathness to depart would grow. Adieu.
Nay, stay a little. Were you but riding forth to air yourself, such parting were too petty. Look here, love. This diamond was my mother's. Take it, heart. But keep it till you woo another wife, when Imogen is dead.
How, another? You gentle gods, give me but this I have, and sear up my embracements from a next with bonds of death. Remain thou here, while sense can keep it on. And sweetest, fairest, as I my poor self did exchange for you to your so infinite loss, so in our trifles I still win of you. For my sake, wear this. It is a manacle of love. I'll place it upon this fairest prisoner.
Oh, the gods! When shall we see again?
Alack, the king!
Thou basest thing, avoid hence from my sight. If after this command thou fraught the court with thy unworthiness, thou diest. Away! Thou art poison to my blood.
The gods protect you and bless the good remainders of the court. I am gone.
There cannot be a pinch in death more sharp than this is.
O disloyal thing, thou shouldst repair my youth. Thou heapst a year's age on me.
I beseech you, sir, harm not yourself with your vexation. I am senseless of your wrath. A touch more rare subdues all pangs, all fears.
Past grace, obedience?
Past hope, and in despair, that way past grace.
That mightst have had the sole son of my queen.
Oh, bless that I might not! I chose an eagle and did avoid a puttock.
Thou tookst a beggar, wouldst have made my throne a seat for baseness.
No, I rather added a luster to it.
Oh, thou foul, vile one.
Sir, it is your fault that I have loved Posthumus. You bred him as my playfellow, and he is a man worth any woman. Overbuys me almost the sum he pays.
What? Art thou mad?
Almost, sir. Heaven restore me. Would I were a neat herd's daughter, and my Leonatus our neighbor shepherd's son.
Thou foolish thing. They were again together. You have done not after our command. Away with her and pen her up.
Beseech your patience, peace. Dear lady daughter, peace, sweet sovereign, leave us to ourselves and make yourself some comfort out of your best advice.
Nay, Let her languish, a drop of blood a day, and being aged, die of this folly.
Fie, you must give way. Here is your servant. How now, sir? What news?
My lord, your son drew on my master.
Huh? No harm, I trust, is done.
There might have been, but that my master rather played than fought, and had no help of anger. They were parted by gentlemen at hand.
I'm very glad on't.
Your son's my father's friend. He takes his part to draw upon an exile. Oh, brave sir! I would they were in Afric both together, myself by with a needle, that I might prick the goer back. Why came you from your master?
On his command. He would not suffer me to bring him to the haven, left these notes of what commands I should be subject to when please you to employ me.
This has been your faithful servant. I dare lay mine honor he will remain so.
I humbly thank your highness.
Pray, walk a while.
About some half hour hence, pray you speak with me. You shall at least go see my lord aboard. For this time, leave me.
Act 1, Scene 2. Cymbeline's court, Cloten's chamber. Enter Cloten and two lords.
Sir, I would advise you to shift a shirt. The violence of action hath made you reek as a sacrifice, where air comes out, air comes in. There's none abroad so wholesome as that you vent.
If my shirt were bloody, then to shift it. Have I hurt him?
No, faith, not so much as his patience.
Hurt him, his body's a passable carcass, if he be not hurt. The thoroughfare for steel, if it be not hurt.
His steel was in debt, it went o'er the backside of the town.
The villain would not stand me.
No, but he fled forward still toward your face.
Stand you, you have land enough of your own, but he added to your having, gave you some ground.
As many inches as you have oceans. Puppies.
I would they had not come between us.
So would I, till you had measured how long a fool you were upon the ground.
And that she should love this fellow and refuse me.
If it be a sin to make a true election, she is damned.
Sir, as I told you always, her beauty and her brain go not together. She's a good sign, but I have seen small reflection upon her wits.
She shines not upon fools, lest the reflection should hurt her.
Come, I'll to my chamber. Would there had been some hurt done?
I wish not so, unless it had been the fall of an ass, which is no great hurt.
You'll go with us?
I'll attend your lordship.
Nay, come, let's go together.
Well, my lord.
Act 1, Scene 3. A room in Cymbeline's palace. Enter Imogen and Pisanio.
I would thou grewest unto the shores of the haven, and questionedest every sail. If he should write, and I not have it, 'twere a paper lost as offered mercy is. What was the last that he spake to thee?
It was his queen,
Then waved his handkerchief?
and kissed it, madam.
Senseless linen, happier therein than I. And that was all.
No, madam, for so long as he could make me with this eye or ear distinguish him from others, he did keep the deck, with glove or hat or handkerchief still waving, as the fits and stirs of his mind could best express how slow his soul sailed on, how swift his ship.
Thou shouldst have made him as little as a crow, or less ere left to after eye him.
Madam, so I did.
I would have broke mine eye strings, crack them, but to look upon him till the diminution of space had pointed him sharp as my needle, nay, followed him till he had melted from the smallness of a gnat to air, and then have turned mine eye and wept. But, good Pisanio, when shall we hear from him?
Be assured, madam, with his next vantage.
I did not take my leave of him, but had most pretty things to say. Ere I could tell him how I would think on him at certain hours, such thoughts and such, or I could make him swear the sheaves of Italy would not betray mine interest in his honor, or have charged him at the 6th hour of morn, at noon, at midnight, to encounter me with orisons. For then I am in heaven for him. Or I could give him that parting kiss which I had set betwixt two charming words, comes in my father, and like the tyrannous breathing of the north, shakes all our buds from growing.
The queen, madam, desires your highness's company.
Those things I bid you do, get them dispatched. I will attend the queen.
Madam, I shall.
Act 1, Scene 4, Philario's house in Rome. Enter Philario, Iachimo, a Frenchman, a Dutchman, and a Spaniard.
Believe it, sir. I have seen him in Britain. He was then of crescent note, expected to prove so worthy as since he hath been allowed the name of. But I could then have looked on him without his help of admiration, though the catalogue of his endowments had been tabled by his side, and I to peruse him by items.
You speak of him when he was less furnished than he now is, with that which makes him both without and within.
I have seen him in France, where very many there could behold the sun with as firm eyes as he.
This matter of marrying his king's daughter, wherein he must be weighed rather by her value than his own, words him, I doubt not, a great deal from the matter.
And then his banishment.
Aye, and the approbation of those that weep this lamentable divorce under the colours are wonderfully to extend him, be it but to fortify her judgment, which else in easy battery might lay flat for taking a beggar without less quality. But how comes it he is to sojourn with you? How creeps acquaintance?
His father and I were soldiers together, to whom I have been often bound for no less than my life. Here comes the Briton. Let him be so entertained among you as suits, with gentlemen of your knowing to a stranger of his quality. I beseech you all, be better known to this gentleman, who I commend to you as a noble friend of mine. How worthy he is, I will leave to appear hereafter, rather than story him in his own hearing.
Sir, we have known together in Orleans.
Since when I have been debtor to you for courtesies which I will be ever to pay and yet pay still.
Sir, you orate my poor kindness. I was glad I did atone my countrymen and you. It had been a pity you should have been put together with so mortal a purpose, as then each bore, upon importance of so slight and trivial a nature.
By your pardon, sir, I was then a young traveller, rather shunned to go even with what I heard than in my every action to be guided by others' experiences. But upon my mended judgment, if I offend not to say it is mended, my quarrel was not altogether slight.
Faith, yes, to be put to the arbitrament of swords, and by such too that would by all likelihood have confounded one another the other, or have fallen both.
Can we with manners ask what was the difference?
Safely, I think. 'Twas a contention in public, which may without contradiction suffer the report. It was much like an argument that fell out last night, where each of us fell in praise of our countrymen mistresses, this gentleman at the time vouching, and upon warrant of blood affirmation, his to be more fair, virtuous, wise, chaste, constant, and qualified, and less attemptable than any of the rarest of our ladies in France.
Well, that lady is not now living, or this gentleman's opinion by this worn out.
She holds her virtue still, and I my mind.
Oh, you must not so far prefer her for ours of Italy.
Being so far provoked as I was in France, I would abate her nothing, though I profess myself to adore her, not her friend.
As fair and as good, kind of, hand-in-hand comparison, had been something too fair and too good for any lady in Britain. If she went before others I have seen, as that, diamond of yours outlusters many I have beheld, I could not but believe she had excelled many. But I have not seen the most precious diamond that is, nor you the lady.
I praised her as I rated her, so do I my stone.
What do you esteem it at?
More than the world enjoys.
Oh, either your unparagoned mistress is dead, or she's outprized by a trifle.
You are mistaken. The one may be sold or given, or if there were wealth enough for the purchase, or merit for the gift. The other is not a thing for sale, but only the gift of the gods.
which the gods have given you.
Which, by their graces, I will keep.
You may wear her and title yours, but, strange foul light upon neighboring ponds. And your ring may be stolen, too, so you're a brace of unprizable estimations. The one is but frail, the other casual. A cunning thief or a that-way accomplished courtier would hazard the winning both of first and last.
Your Italy contains none so accomplished a courtier to convince the honor of my mistress, if in the holding of or loss of that, you term her frail. I do nothing doubt you have store of thieves, notwithstanding. I fear not my ring.
Let us leave here, gentlemen.
Sir, with all my heart. This worthy signor, I thank him, makes no stranger of me. We are familiar at first.
With 5 times so much conversation I should get ground of your fair mistress, make her go back even to the yielding, had I admittance and opportunity to friend.
No.
Oh, I dare thereupon pawn the moiety of my estate to your ring, which in my opinion or values it something. But I make my wager rather against your confidence than her reputation. And to bar your offense hereunto, I durst attempt it against any lady in the world.
You are a great deal abused and too bold a persuasion, and I doubt not you sustain what you're worthy of by your attempt.
What's that?
A repulse, though your attempts, as you call it, deserve more. A punishment, too.
Gentlemen, enough of this. It came in too suddenly. Let it die as it was born, and I pray you get better acquainted.
Would I had put my estate and my neighbors on the approbation of what I spoke.
What lady would you choose to assail?
Yours, whom in constancy you think stands so safe. I will lay you 10,000 ducats to your ring that commend me to the court where your lady is with no more advantage than the opportunity of a second conference, and I will bring forth from thence that honor of hers which you imagined so reserved.
I will wage against your gold to it. My ring I hold dear as my finger, 'tis part of it.
Oh, you are a friend. Therein the wiser. If you buy ladies' flesh at $1,000,000 a dram, you cannot preserve it from tainting. But I see you have some religion in you that you fear.
This is but a custom in your tongue. You bear a graver purpose, I hope.
I am master of my speeches and will undergo what's spoken, I swear.
Will you? I shall but lend my diamond till you return. Let there be covenants drawn between us. My mistress exceeds in goodness the hugeness of your unworthy thinking. I dare you to this match. Here's my ring.
I will have it no lay.
Oh, by the gods, it is one. If I bring you no sufficient testimony that I have enjoyed the dearest bodily part of your mistress, my 10,000 ducats are yours, so is your diamond too. If I come off and leave her in such honor as you have trust in, she your jewel, this your jewel, and my gold are yours, provided I have your commendation for my more free entertainment.
I embrace these conditions. Let us have articles betwixt us. Only thus far you shall answer. If you make your voyage upon her and give me directly to understand you have prevailed, I am no further your enemy. She is not worth our debate. If she remain unseduced, you not making it appear otherwise, for your ill opinion and the assault you have made to her chastity, you shall answer me with your sword.
Your hand. A covenant. We will have these things set down by lawful counsel and straight away for Britain, lest the bargain should catch cold and starve. I will fetch my gold and have our 2 wagers recorded.
Agreed.
This hold, think you?
Signor Giacomo will not from it. Pray, let's follow him.
Act 1, Scene 5. Cymbeline's palace, the Queen's chamber. Enter Queen, ladies, and Cornelius.
While yet the dew's on the ground, gather those flowers. Make haste. Who has the note of them?
I, madam.
Dispatch. Now, Master Doctor, have you brought those drugs?
Pleaseth your highness? Aye, here they are, madam. But I beseech your grace, without offence, my conscience bids me ask, Wherefore you have commanded of me these most poisonous compounds, which are the movers of a languishing death, but though slow, deadly.
I wonder, doctor, thou askest me such a question. Have I not thy pupil long? Hast thou not learned me how to make perfumes, distill, preserve? Yea, so that our great king himself doth woo me oft for my confections, having thus far proceeded. Unless thou think'st me devilish, is it not meet that I did amplify my judgment and other conclusions? I will try the forces of these compounds on such creatures as we count not worth the hanging, but non-human, to try the vigor of them and apply allayments to their act, and by them gather their several virtues and effects.
Your Highness shall from this practice but make hard your heart. Besides, the seeing these effects will be both noisome and infectious.
Oh, content thee. Here comes a flattering rascal. Upon him will I first work. He's for his master, an enemy to my son. How now, Pisanio? Doctor, your service for this time has ended. Take your own way.
I do suspect you, madam, but you shall do no harm.
Hark thee a word.
I do not like her. She doth think she has strange lingering poisons. I do know her spirit, and will not trust one of her malice with a drug of such damned nature. Those she has will stupefy and dull the sense awhile, which first perchance she'll prove on cats and dogs, then afterward up higher. But there is no danger in what show of death it makes, more than the locking up the spirits a time to be more fresh, reviving. She is fooled with a most false effect, and I the truer, so to be false with her.
No further service, doctor, until I send for thee.
I humbly take my leave.
Weeps she still, sayest thou? Dost thou think in time she will not quench and let instructions enter where folly now possesses? Do thou work. When thou shalt bring me word she loves my son, I'll tell thee on the instant that thou art as great as is thy master, greater. For his fortunes all lie in speechless, and his name is at last gasp. Return he cannot, nor continue where he is. To shift his being is to exchange one misery with another, and every day that comes to decay. A day's work in him thou expect to be depender on the thing that leans, who cannot be a new built, nor has no friends, so much as but to prop him. Thou takest up, thou knowst not what, but take it for thy labor. It is a thing I made which hath the king 5 times redeemed from death. I do not know what is more cordial. Nay, I prithee, take it. It is an earnest of a farther good that I mean to thee. Tell thy mistress how the case stands with her. Do it as from thyself. Think what chance thou changest on, but think thou hast thy mistress still to boot, my son, who shall take notice of thee. I'll move the king to any shape of thy preferment, such as thou'lt desire, and then myself, I chiefly, that set thee on to this desert am bound, to load thy merit richly. Call my women, think on my words. Sly and constant knave, not to be shaked, the agent for his master, and the rememberer of her to hold the hand fast to her lord. I have given him that, which he takes, shall quite unpeople her, of liegers for her sweet, and which she after, except she bend her humor, shall be assured to taste up to. So, well done. Well done. The violets, cowslips, and the primroses bear to my closet. Fare thee well, Pisanio. Think on my words.
And shall so. But when to my good lord I prove untrue, I'll choke myself. There's all I'll do for you.
Act 1, Scene 6. Elsewhere in Cymbeline's palace. Enter Imogen alone.
A father cruel and a step-dame false. A foolish suitor to a wedded lady that hath her husband banished. Oh, that husband! My supreme crown of grief and those repeated vexations of it. Had I been thief-stolen as my two brothers, happy. But most miserable is the desire that's glorious. Blessed be those, how mean soe'er, that have their honest wills, which seasons comfort. Ah, who may this be? Fie!
Madam, a noble gentleman of Rome comes from my lord with letters.
Oh, change you, madam. The worthy Leonatus is in safety and greets your highness dearly.
Thanks, good sir. You're kindly welcome.
All of her that is out of door most rich. If she be furnished with a mind so rare, she is alone the Arabian bird, and I have lost the wager. Boldness, be my friend. Arm me audacity from head to foot, or like the Parthian I shall flying fight, rather directly fly.
He is one of noblest note, to whose kindness I am most infinitely tied. Reflect upon him accordingly as you value your trust. Leonatus. So far I read aloud, but even the very middle of my heart is warmed by the rest and taints it thankfully. You are as welcome, worthy sir, as I have words to bid you, and shall find it so in all that I can do.
Thanks, fairest lady. Oh, what? Are men mad? Have nature given them eyes to see this vaulted arch and this rich crop of sea and land, which can distinguish twixt the fiery orbs above and the twined stones upon the numbered beach? And can we not partition make with spectacles so precious twixt fair and foul?
What makes your admiration?
No, it cannot be the eye. For apes and monkeys twixt two such cheese would chatter this way and contemn with mows the other. Knowing the judgment for idiots in this case of favor would be wisely definite, nor in the appetite. Sluttery to such neat excellence opposed should make desire vomit emptiness, not so allured to feed.
What is the matter, Tro?
The cloyed will, that satiate yet unsatisfied desire, that tub both filled and running, ravening first the lamb, longs after the garbage.
What, dear sir, thus raps you? Are you well?
Thanks, madam. Well, beseech you, sir, desire my man's abode where I did leave him. He's strange and peevish.
I was going, sir, to give him welcome.
Continues well, my lord. His health, beseech you.
Well, madam.
Is he disposed to mirth? I hope he is.
Well, exceeding pleasant. None a stranger there, so merry and so gamesome. He's called the Britain Reveller.
When he was here, he did incline to sadness, and oft times not knowing why.
Oh, I never saw him sad. Well, there's a Frenchman, his companion, one an eminent monsieur that it seems much loves a Gallian girl at home. He furnishes the thick sighs from him, whilst the jolly Briton, your lord, I mean, laughs from his free lungs, cries, "Oh, can my sides hold to think that man who knows by history, report, or his own proof what woman is, which she cannot choose but must be, will freeze our languish for assured bondage."
Will my lord say so?
I met him with his eyes flood with laughter. It's a recreation to be by and hear mock the Frenchman. But heavens know, some men are much to blame.
Not he, I hope.
Oh, not he. But yet heaven's bounty towards him might be used more thankfully. In himself 'tis much, and in you, which I account his, beyond all talents. Whilst I'm bound to wonder, I'm bound to pity, too.
What do you pity, sir?
Two creatures, heartily.
Am I one, sir? You look on me with a rack discern you in me deserves your pity?
Lamentable. What, to hide me from the radiant sun and solace in the dungeon by a snuff?
I pray you, sir, deliver with more openness your answers to my demands. Why do you pity me?
That others do. I was about to say, enjoy your... but it is an office of the gods to venge it, not mine to speak on it.
You do seem to know something of me or what concerns me. Pray you, since doubting things go ill often hurts more than to be sure they do, for certainties either are past remedies or timely knowing the remedy then born, discovered to me would both you spur and stop.
Had I this cheek to bathe my lips upon, this hand whose every touch would force the feeler's soul to the oath of loyalty, this object which takes prisoner the wild motion of mine eye, fixing it only here, should I, damned then, slaver with lips as common as the stairs that mount the Capitol? Join gripes with hands made hard with hourly falsehood as with labor? Then by peeping in an eye, base and ill, lustrous as the smoky light that's fed with stinking tallow. Oh, refit that all the plagues of hell should at one time encounter such revolt.
My lord, I fear, has forgotten Britain.
And himself. And not I, inclined to this intelligence, pronounce the beggary of his change, but 'tis your graces that from my mutest conscience to my tongue charms this report out.
Let me hear no more.
Dear soul, your cause doth strike my heart with pity that doth make me sick. A lady so fair, fastened to an empery, would make the greatest king double, to be partnered with tomboys hired with that self-exhibition which your own coffers yield, with disease adventures that play with all infirmities for gold which rottenness can lend nature, such boiled stuff as well might poison. Be revenged. Or she that bore you was no queen, and you recoil from your great stock.
Revenged? How should I be revenged? If this be true, as I have such a heart that both mine ears must not in haste abuse, if it be true, how should I be revenged?
Should he make me live like Diana's priest betwixt cold sheets while he is vaulting variable ramps in your despite upon your purse? Revenge it. I dedicate myself to your sweet pleasure, more noble than that runagate to your bed, and will continue fast to your affection, still close as sure.
What ho, Pisanio?
Let me my service tender upon your lips.
Away. I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee. If thou wert honorable, thou wouldst have told this tale for virtue, not for such an end thou seekest, as base as strange. Thou wrongst a gentleman who is as far from thy report as thou from honor, and soliciteer a lady that disdains thee and the devil alike. What ho, Pisanio! The king my father shall be made acquainted of thy assault, if he shall think it fit a saucy stranger in his court to mart as in a Romish stew, and to expound his beastly mind to us. He hath a court he little cares for, and a daughter who he respects not at all. What ho, Pisanio!
Oh, happy Leonatus! I may say the credit that thy lady hath of thee deserves thy trust, and thy most perfect goodness her assured credit. Blessed live you long. A lady to the worthiest sir that ever country called his, and you, his mistress, only for the most worthiest fit. Give me your pardon. I have spoke this to know if your affiance were deeply rooted, and shall make your lord that which he is new or, and he is one the truest mannered, such a holy witch that he enchants societies unto him. Half all men's hearts are his.
You make amends.
And he sits among men like a descended god, yet the kind of honor sets him off more than a mortal seeming. Be not angry, most mighty princess, that I have adventured to try your taking of a false report, which hath honored with your confirmation your great judgment in the election of a sir so rare, which you know cannot err. The love I bear him made me to fan you thus, but the gods made you, unlike all others, chaffless. I pray your pardon.
All's well, sir. Take my power of the court for yours.
My humble thanks. And I almost forgot to entreat your grace, but in a small request, and yet of moment too, for it concerns your lord, myself, and other noble friends, our partners in the business.
Pray, what is it?
Some dozen Romans of us and your lord, the best feather of our wing, have mingled sums to buy a present for the emperor, which I, the factor for the rest, have done in France. 'Tis plate of rare device, and jewels of rich and exquisite form, their values great, and I am something curious, being strange, to have them in safe stowage. May it please you to take them in protection?
Willingly, and pawn mine honor for their safety. Since my lord hath interest in them, I will keep them in my bedchamber.
They are in a trunk, attended by my men. I will make bold to send them to you, only for this night. I must aboard tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yes, I beseech, or I shall short my word by lengthening my return. From Gallia I crossed the seas on purpose and on promise to see your grace.
I thank you for your pains, but not away tomorrow.
I must, madam. Therefore, I beseech you, if you please, to greet your lord with writing, do it tonight. I have outstood my time, which is material to the tender of our present.
I will write. Send your trunk to me. It shall safe be kept, and truly yielded you. You're very welcome.
Act 2, Scene 1. Britain in front of Cymbeline's palace. Enter Cloten and the two lords.
Was there ever man had such luck? When I kissed the jack upon an upcast to be hid away, I had £100 on it. And then a horse and jackanapes must take me up for swearing, as if I borrowed mine oaths of him and might not spend them at my pleasure.
What got he by that? You have broke his pate with your bowl.
If his wit had been like him that broke it, it would have run all out.
When a gentleman is disposed to swear, it is not for any standers-by to curtail his oaths, huh?
No, my lord, nor crop the ears of them.
Horse and dog. I gave him satisfaction. Would he had been one of my rank.
To have smelled like a fool.
I am not vexed more at anything in the world. A pox on it, I had rather not be so noble as I am. They dare not fight with me, because of the queen my mother. Every jack-slave hath his belly full of fighting, and I must go up and down like a cock that nobody can match.
You are a cock and a capon too. You are a crow-cock with your comb on.
Sayest thou?
It is not fit your lordship should undertake every companion that he give offence to.
No, I know that, but it is fit I should commit offence to my inferiors.
Aye, it is your fit for your lordship only.
Why, so I say.
Did you hear of a stranger that's come to the court tonight?
A stranger, and I not know on it.
He's a strange fellow himself, and knows it not.
There's an Italian come, and 'tis thought one of Leonatus's friend.
Leonatus? A banished rascal, and he's another whatsoe'er he be. Who told you of this stranger?
One of your lordship's pages.
Is it fit I went to look upon him? Is there no derogation in it?
You cannot derogate, my lord.
Not easily, I think.
You are a fool. Granted, therefore your issue, being foolish, do not derogate.
Come, I'll go see this Italian. What I have lost today at bowls, I'll win tonight of him. Come, go.
I'll attend your lordship. That such a crafty devil as is his mother should yield the world this ass, a woman that bears all down with her brain, and this her son cannot take 2 from 20 for his heart and leave 18. Alas, poor princess, thou divine Imogen, what thou earnedest betwixt a father by thy stepdame governed, a mother hourly coining plots, a woer more hateful than the fool expulsion is of thy dear father, than that horrid act of the divorce he'd make. The heavens hold firm, the walls of thy dear honor keep unshaked. That temple thy fair mind, that thou mayst stand to enjoy thy banished lord in this great land.
Act 2, Scene 2, Imogen's bedchamber. A trunk is brought in. Enter Imogen, reading, in her bed, and a lady.
Who's there? My woman, Helen?
Please you, madam?
What hour is it?
Almost midnight, madam.
I have read 3 hours then. Mine eyes are weak. Fold down the leaf where I have left. To bed. Take not away the taper, leave it burning. And if thou canst awake by 4 o'clock, I pray thee, call me. Sleep hath seized me wholly. To your protection I commend me, gods, from fairies and the tempters of the night. Guard me, beseech you.
Ooh, the crickets sing, and man's o'er-labored sense repairs itself by rest. Tarquin thus did softly press the rushes ere he wakened the chastity he wounded. Cytherea, how bravely thou becomest thy bed, fresh lily and whiter than the sheets, that I might touch. But kiss, one kiss. Rubies unparagoned, how dearly they do it. 'Tis her breathing that perfumes the chamber thus. The flame of the taper bows toward her, and would underpeep her lids to see the enclosed lights now canopied under these windows, white and azure laced with blue of heaven's own tinct. But my design, to write all down. Such and such, the pictures. There the window. Such the adornment of her bed. Heiress and figures, such and such. Oh, the contents of the story. Some natural notes about her body, about above 10,000 meaner movables, would testify to enrich mine inventory. Sleep, thou ape of death, lie dull upon her, and be her sense but as a monument thus in a chapel lying. Off, come off. As slippery as the Gordian knot was hard. 'Tis mine. And this will witness outwardly as stronger as the conscience does within to the matting of her lord. On her left breast, a mole sink-spotted, like the crimson drops in the bottom of a cowslip. Here's a voucher stronger than ever law could make. This secret will force him think I have picked the lock and ta'en the treasure of her honor. No more. To what end? Why should I write this down that's riveted, screwed to my memory? She hath been reading late the tale of Terriers. And here's the leaf turned down, right at the point where Philomel gave up. I have enough. To the trunk again, and shut the spring of it. Swift, swift, you dragons of the night, that dawning may bear the raven's eye. I lodge in fear, though this a heavenly angel. Oh, hell is here. 2, 3. Time.
Act 2, Scene 3, Cymbeline's court. Enter Cloten and lords.
Your lordship is the most patient man in loss, the most coldest that ever turned up ace.
It would make any man cold to lose.
But not every man patient after the noble temper of your lordship. You are most hot and furious when you win.
Winning will put any man into courage. If I could get this foolish Imogen, I should have gold enough. It's almost morning, is not?
Day, my lord.
I would this music would come. I am advised to give her music a mornings. They say it will penetrate. Oh, come on, tune. If you can penetrate her with your fingering, so. We'll try with tongue, too. If none will do, let her remain, but I'll give none o'er. First, a very excellent, good conceited thing. After, a wonderful sweet air with admirable rich words to it, and then let her consider.
Hark, the lark at heaven's gate sings, and visions rise his steeds to waters at the springs. On chalice flowers that lies, on chalice flowers that lie. And winking merry buds begin to open their golden eyes. With everything that pretty is, my lady sweet arise. With everything that pretty is, my lady sweet arise. Arise, arise, my lady sweet arise.
So get you gone. If this penetrate, I will consider your music the better. If it do not, it is a vice in her ears which horsehairs and calves' guts, nor the voice of unpaved eunuch to boot, can never amend.
Here comes the king.
I'm glad I was up so late, for that's the reason I was up so early. He cannot choose but take this service I've done fatherly. Good morrow to your majesty and to my gracious mother.
Attend you here the door of our stern daughter. Will she not forth?
I have assailed her with musics, but she vouchsafes no notice.
The exile of her minion is too new. She hath not yet forgotten. More time must wear the print of his remembrance on't.
You are most bound to the king, who lets go by no vantages that may prefer you to his daughter. Frame yourself to orderly solicits, and befriended with aptness of the season, make denials. Increase your services, so seem as if you were inspired to do those duties which you tender to her, that you in all obey her, save when command to your dismission tends, and wherein you are senseless.
Senseless? Not so.
So like you, sir, ambassadors from Rome. The one is Caius Lucius.
A worthy fellow, albeit he comes on angry purpose now, but that's no fault of his. We must receive him according to the honour of his sender, and towards himself his goodness forespent on us we must extend our notice. Our dear son, when you have given good morning to your mistress, attend the queen and us. We shall have need to employ you towards this Roman. Come, our queen.
If she be up, I'll speak with her. If not, let her lie still and dream. By your leave, ho! I know her women are about her. What if I do line one of their hands? 'Tis gold which buys admittance. Oft it doth, yea, and makes Diana's rangers false themselves, yield up their deer to the stand of the stealer. And 'tis gold which makes the true man killed and saves the thief. Nay, sometime hangs both thief and true man. What can it not do and undo? I will make one of her women lawyer to me, for I yet not understand the case myself. By your leave!
There that knocks.
Gentleman.
No more.
Yea, and a gentlewoman's son.
That's more than some whose tailors are as dear as yours can justly boast of. What's your lordship's pleasure?
Your lady's person, is she ready?
Aye, to keep her chamber.
There is gold for you. Sell me your good report.
How, my name, or to report of you that what I shall think is good? The princess.
Good morrow, fairest sister, your sweet hand.
Tomorrow, sir. Lay out too much pains for purchasing but trouble. The thanks I give is telling you that I am poor of thanks, and scarce can spare them.
Still, I swear I love you.
If you but said so, 'twere as deep with me. If you swear still, your recompense is still that I regard it not.
This is no answer.
But that you shall not say I yield being silent, I would not speak. I pray you, spare me. Faith, I shall unfold equal discourtesy, your best kindness. One of your great knowing should learn being taught forbearance.
To leave you in your madness, 'twere my sin. I will not.
Fools are not mad fools.
Do you call me fool?
As I am mad, I do. If you'll be patient, I'll no more be mad. That cures us both. I am much sorry, sir. You put me to forget a lady's manners by being so verbal. And learn now for all that I, which do know my heart, do here pronounce. By the very truth of it, I care not for you. And am so near the lack of charity to accuse myself I hate you, which I had rather you felt than make to my boast.
You sin against obedience, which you owe your father, for the contract you pretend with that base wretch, one bred of alms and fostered with cold dishes, with scraps of the court. It is no contract, none. And though it be allowed in meaner parties, yet who then he more mean, to knit their souls, on whom there is no more dependency, but brats and beggary in self-figured knot, yet you are curbed from that enlargement by the consequence of the crown, and must not foil the precious note of it with a base slave, a hilding for a livery, a squire's cloth, a pantler, not so eminent.
Profane fellow! Wert thou the son of Jupiter, and no more, but what thou art besides, thou wert too base to be his groom. Thou wert dignified enough, even to the point of envy, if 'twere made comparative for your virtues to be styled the under hangman of his kingdom and hated for being preferred so well.
The South's fog rot him.
He never can meet more mischance than come to be but named of thee. His meanest garment that ever hath clipped his body is purer in my respect than all the hairs above thee. For they all made such men. How now, Pisanio?
His garment? Now the devil!
To Dorothy, my woman, hide thee presently.
His garment?
I am frighted with a fool, frighted and angered worse. Go bid my woman search for a jewel that too casually hath left mine arm. 'Twas thy master's. Rule me, if I would lose it for a revenue of any kings in Europe. You think, saw'st this morning, confident I am, last night 'twas on mine arm. I kissed it. I hope it be not gone to tell my lord that I kissed not but he.
Will not be lost.
I hope so. Go and search.
You have abused me! His meanest garment.
Aye, I said so, sir. If you will make it an action, call witness to it.
I will inform your father.
Your mother, too. She's my good lady, and will conceive, I hope, but the worst of me. So I leave you, sir, to the worst of discontent.
I'll be revenged. His meanest garment. Well.
Act 2, Scene 4. Philario's house in Rome. Enter Posthumus and Philario.
Fear it not, sir. I would I were so sure to win the king as I am bold her honor will remain hers.
What means do you make to him?
Not any, but abide the change of time, quake in the present winter's state, and wish that warmer days would come. In these feared hopes I barely gratify your love. They failing, I must die much your debtor.
Your very goodness and your company, O, pays all I can do. By this your king hath heard of great Augustus. Caius Lucius will do his commissions thoroughly, and I think he'll grant the tribute, send the orages, and look upon our Romans, whose remembrance is yet fresh in their grief.
I do believe, statist though I am none, or like to be, that this will prove a war, and you shall hear the legion now in Gallia sooner landed in our not-fearing Britain than have tidings of any penny tribute paid. Our countrymen are men more ordered than when Julius Caesar smiled at their lack of skill, but found their courage worthy his frowning at. Their discipline, now winged with their courages, will make known to their approvers they are people such that mend upon the world.
See, Iachimo.
The swiftest hearts have posted you by land, and winds of all the corners kissed your sails to make your vessel nimble.
Welcome, sir.
I hope the briefness of your answer made the speediness of your return.
Your lady is one of the fairest that I have looked upon.
And therewithal the best, or let her beauty look thorough at casement to allure false hearts and be false with them.
Here are letters for you.
Their tenor good, I trust?
'Tis very like, yeah.
Was Caius Lucius in the Britain court when you were there?
He was expected then, but not approached.
All is well yet. Sparkles this stone, as it was wont, or it's not too dull for your good wearing?
Oh, if I have lost it, I should have lost the worth of it in gold. I'll make a journey twice as far to enjoy a second night of such sweet shortness, which was mine in Britain. For the ring is won.
The stone's too hard to come by.
Oh, not a whit, your lady being so easy.
Make not, sir, your loss your sport. I hope you know that we must not continue friends.
Oh, good sir, we must, if you keep covenant. Had I not brought the knowledge of your mistress home, I grant we were to question further, but I now profess myself the winner of her honor, together with your ring, and not the wronger of her or you, having proceeded by both your wills.
If you can make apparent that you have tasted her in bed, a hand and ring is yours. If not, foul opinion you had of her pure honor gains or loses your sword or mine, or masterless leave both to who shall find them.
Sir, my circumstances being so near the truth as I will make them, must first induce you to believe, whose strength I will confirm with oath, which I doubt not you'll give me leave to spare when you shall find you need it not.
Proceed.
First, her bedchamber, where I confess I slept not, but had what that was well worth watching. It was hanged with tapestry of silk and silver, the story proud Cleopatra when she met her Roman, and Cydnus swelled above the banks, or for the press of boats, or pride. Piece of work so bravely done, so rich that it did strive in workmanship and value, which I wondered could be so rarely and exactly wrought, since the true life of it was.
This is true, and this you might have heard of here, by me, or by some other.
More particulars must justify my knowledge.
So they must, or do your honor injury.
The chimney is south the chamber, and the chimney piece chaste Dian bathing. Never saw I figures so likely to report themselves. The cutter was as another nature, dumb, outwinter, motion and breath left out.
This is a thing which you might from relation likewise reap, being as it is much spoke of.
And the roof of the chamber with golden cherubims is fretted, and her andirons, I forgot them, were two winking cupids of silver, each on 1 foot standing, nicely depending on their brands.
This is her honor? Let it be granted you have seen all this, and praise be given to your remembrance. The description of what is in her chamber, nothing saves the wager you have laid.
And if you can be pale, I beg but leave to air this jewel. See? 'Tis up again. Must be married to that your diamond. I'll keep 'em.
Jove! Once more let me behold it. Is it that which I left with her?
Oh, sir, I thank her that. She stripped it from her arm. Oh, I see her yet. Her pretty action did outsell her gift, and yet enriched it too. She gave it me and said she prized it once.
Maybe she plucked it off to send it to me.
She writes so to you, does she?
No, 'tis true. Here, take this too. Is a basilisk unto mine eye, kills me to look on't. Let there be no honor where there is beauty, truth where semblance, love where there's another man. The vows of women of no more bondage be to where they are made, that they are to their virtues, which is nothing. Oh, of measure false!
Have patience, sir, and take your ring again. 'Tis not yet won. It may be probable she lost it. Or who knows if one her women, being corrupted, hath stolen it from her.
Very true. And so I hope he came by. Back my ring. Render to me some corporal sign about her, more evident than this, for this was stolen.
By Jupiter, I had it from her arm.
Hark you, he swears! By Jupiter, he swears. 'Tis true. Nay, keep the ring, 'tis true. I am sure she would not lose it. Her attendants are all sworn and honorable. Were they induced to steal it? And by a stranger? No, he hath enjoyed her. The cognizance of her incontinency is this. She hath bought the name of whore thus dearly. There, take thy hire, and all the fiends of hell divide themselves between you.
Sir, be patient. This is not strong enough to be believed of one persuaded well of.
Never talk on't. She hath been colted by him.
If you seek for further satisfying, under her breast, worthy the pressing, lies a mole, right proud of that most delicate lodging. By my life I kissed it, and it gave me present hunger to feed again, though full. You do remember this stain about her, hmm?
Aye. And it doth confirm another stain as big as hell can hold, were there none more but it.
Will you hear more?
Spare your arithmetic. Never count the turns, once and a million.
I'll be sworn.
No swearing. If you will swear you have not done't, you lie, and I will kill thee if thou dost deny thou'st made a cuckold of me.
I'll deny nothing.
Oh, that I had her here to tear her limb meal! I will go there and do it at the court, before her father. I'll do something.
Quite beside the government of patience. You have won. Let's follow him and pervert the present wrath he hath against himself.
With all my heart.
Act 2, Scene 5, Rome. Enter Posthumus.
Is there no way for men to be, but women must be half-workers? We're all bastards, and that most venerable man, which I did call my father, was I know not where when I was stamped. Some coiner with his tools made me a counterfeit. Yet my mother seemed the Dian of that time. So doth my wife the nonpareil of this. Oh, vengeance! Vengeance! Me of my lawful pleasure she restrained, and prayed me oft forbearance. Did with a pudency so rosy the sweet view on't might well have warmed old Saturn, that I thought her as chaste as unsunned snow. Oh, the devils! This yellow Iachimo in an hour, was not, or less at first. Perchance he spoke not, but like a full acorn boar, a German one, cried, oh, and mounted. Found no opposition but what he looked for should oppose, and she should from encounter guard. Could I find out the woman's part in me, for there's no motion that tends to vice in man, but I affirm it is the woman's part. Be it lying, noted, the woman's. Flattering, hers. Deceiving, hers. Lust and rank thoughts, hers. Revenges, hers. Ambitions, covetings, change of prides, disdained, nice longings, slanders, mutability, all faults that have a name, nay, that hell knows. Why, hers. In part all, but rather all. For even to vice they are not constant, but are changing still. One vice, but out of a minute old, for one not half so as old as that. I'll write against them, detest them, curse them. It is greater skill in a true hate to pray they have their will. The very devils cannot plague them better.